running the drum mag. Yeah, but you can one-shot people with it, but you can one-shot with like any shotgun. This is just not good. It does have an 8-round default mag, which is actually arguably a little bit better than the drum, but people only run it for the drum because it's funny. Like, I could do this with any gun, but it does make it really simple and really easy. Oh my gosh, I just realized that multi that I was on. Alright, so hello gamers and welcome back to another video. Today, I'm going to be ranking the entire shotgun category in Phantom Forces, including all of the shotgun conversions. Check down below if you're subscribed. I just hit 100k recently, and I had some pretty massive announcements in that 100k special, and I sort of face revealed. So go check out that video, link in the description. But yeah, let's just get into it, starting it off with the good old rank 1 KSG 12. What? Wow, that guy's not good. Okay, multi-kill off the bat. This may look really good, and that's because all the shotguns are really good, but the KSG 12 is unfortunately nothing too special. It is one of my favorite Okay, but that's fine. The KSG-12 is one of my favorite shotguns in the game, but I'm gonna be real, this gun is like a 5 out of 10. It does 32 damage per pellet up close and has a pretty good range for that, and the spread is not too terrible, but it's really not that great. And yeah, for a pump action shotgun, 150 RPM is pretty good. Right, you can fire it pretty quickly, but this is nowhere near to the semi-automatic shotguns, and unfortunately, the only huge upside of this gun is the magazine capacity or tube capacity of 15. Honestly, you don't really need that many shells unless you're just horrible, especially since this gun can single load. So you can actually just, you know, load one shell at a time with a lot of these shotguns. This has a KSG 25 barrel, which basically just gives you about the same spread, honestly. It just gives you 25 bullets and worse handling. And yeah, this thing is honestly terrible because you already have 15 rounds. Do you really need 25 on a pump action shotgun? Not really. This is kind of just a meme attachment. It is pretty funny, but yeah, it's not good at all. Too many bullets and bad handling. I don't know. And for the ammo types, I'll only really be talking about ammo types that are going to be actually good on the gun because all the shotguns have these same ammo types. And the main one that's actually pretty good on this gun is actually Flechette because it keeps the 4 pellet to kill, which is something that is really important on this gun because if you didn't know, Flechette will lower your damage but give you better penetration depth, so you can shoot through walls with a shotgun, which is cool. And the only real downside of it is the damage. And for a lot of shotguns, that makes it take an extra pellet to kill up close. And an extra pellet to kill basically means it's like an extra bullet to kill on an assault rifle or something like that, where sometimes you're not going to land all of your pellets and you're going to want a better pellet to kill in order to, you know, not hit somebody and just hit marker them because you didn't hit all the pellets required. So this still has 4 pellets to kill, which makes it honestly pretty good. I give this one probably a 7 out of 10 for the conversion. Overall, I don't think penetration depth is actually that important on a shotgun. This is one of the few cases that it's not going to be a massive drawback to use it. But then next up, we have the Model 870. Now, the Model 870 is the best overall shotgun in the game. However, I'd say there are better shotguns for just specific stats like fire rate or just damage. But this one has the most consistent stats all around. And the reason for that is because the spread is pretty good, the fire rate is pretty good, the capacity is good, and the damage is actually 34, which basically means up close it only takes 3 out of 8 pellets to kill instead of 4, which just essentially gives you a slightly better chance of getting a one-shot. Having 3 pellets to kill is actually a super nice thing because sometimes you just don't hit the full spread of the shotgun, and 3 pellets are going to save you a lot of the time. There's only a few shotguns in the game that can actually do that, 3 shotguns, and this is one of them, which is honestly very cool, considering the fire rate is also 100, which is still pretty good. Obviously, 150 is a lot faster on the KSG, but you're not really going to have a ton of situations where you're really going to need that much fire rate. And overall, I'd give this shotgun a 9 out of 10. I wouldn't say it's the best shotgun in the game overall, but it's definitely up there. Honestly, this one really doesn't have anything you'd really want to use. But then next up, we have the DBV12. The damage on the DBV12 is not really that great. It's 30, which is still decent, but that means if you run Flechette, you are going to go down to 24. But it does have 2 conversions, which we will talk about all the conversions. Either way, this is one of the best shotguns in the whole game. But this shotgun is honestly really good. The pellet damage is 30, which is higher than the Saiga, and the spread is a bit better than the Saiga, but it only has 250 RPM instead of 350, which can be a little awkward for a semi-auto shotgun. Like, yeah, you kind of have to click it in like a weird way to really utilize the full RPM and not like over click with it, if you get what I mean. But you can one-shot people with it very effectively. The damage is not that much worse than a KSG, and that's kind of why I wouldn't really give the KSG a very high rank spot, because yeah, this doesn't have as many bullets as the KSG, but it's still 10. So it's like, really, it can one-shot, and do you really need more than 10 bullets on a one-shot shotgun? Probably not. And honestly, I'd give this gun a 9 out of 10. It is a really, really good shotgun. I don't know why my pellets are just not hitting today. There we go. And you can totally run around and just kill the whole lobby with it. It actually works at pretty decent ranges because you can fire follow-up shots pretty quick. But this has 2 conversions. The first one is 30-06, which this is a terrible loadout for this. Basically, this gun has 180 RPM and it is not a slug. It shoots 30-06 and has no spread and has the ability to, I believe, one-shot headshot, right? Yeah, so it can one-shot headshot to 115 studs, more if you use the paradox choke, and it can two-shot torso at any range. That being said, the fire rate is really low, but basically, this is a really good full auto DMR that has the ability to two-hit kill body shot all ranges and one-shot headshot. Yeah, this conversion is weird, but it's actually like really good too. What the frick? I just actually was headshotting people. By the way, hit somebody in the head with this to a very decent range and it will kill them. It's actually ridiculous. Also, the pen is 3, which is really good. This is one of the most underrated conversions in the whole game. I think the problem with it is just the fire rate is a little bit weird. It's a full auto DMR, which just feels really weird to use. If you're not a DMR fan, this is probably not going to be that good for you, but you can dink people and kill them, which is honestly very, very fun. Honestly, I give that one a 9 out of 10 probably. The damage is actually insane. But then we have 410 bore. Yeah, this one's a little weird. It only has 3 pellets now instead of 8, but it keeps its damage. However, it has a 3-round burst, which 3 times 3 is 9. So you actually only gain 1 pellet and just have a lot of recoil. However, I think there isn't a burst delay. Yeah, there isn't a burst delay, which yeah, you can fire it really fast. So yes, each burst isn't that much of a net gain in terms of pellets. It's a very tiny difference in terms of damage, but you can spam it, which is interesting. But overall, I give this conversion like a 3 out of 10 because you really don't need this much fire rate. You may as well just have tapped people and one-shot them both times. I think it also increases your spread, but I could be wrong. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure on that. If you can let me know in the comments. Well, what was that? Freaking wall bounce. Next up, we have the KS23M, which does 37 damage per pellet, so it can kill in 3 pellets. It also has extremely low spread, as you can see, but it only has a fire rate of 65 and a capacity of 4. Now, 4 rounds is obviously not very good, and the fire rate of 65 is also not very good. That's 35 lower than the other pump shotgun, and the damage is essentially the same, because 37 and 34, they both kill with 3 pellets. So it's basically the same pellets to kill, but the spread is a lot better on this, obviously. Like, the spread of the KS23M is notoriously low. Even now, like, I'm still hitting 2 pellets from there. This gun used to kill with, like, flechette to 200 studs in one shot every single time. It was ridiculous. This gun is still pretty good, but I'd probably give it a 7 out of 10. It's just, it doesn't fire that quick, but I guess it fires fast enough. But it kind of just feels like you may as well run a sniper and have a more consistent one-shot. But this does have a few conversions. First off, shrapnel 25. This one is fine. It does give you a little bit lower on your spread, but it lowers your damage, and it just doesn't give you any more, like, bullets or fire rate or anything. So yeah, this is another like 7 out of 10. It's fine, I guess. Volna R is a really, really weird one where it does 111 damage down to 48. And this can infinitely headshot kill, which is cool, but it has a horrible amount of drop. And I guess it can one-shot to the limbs up close. But it's basically like a slug ammo type that really isn't that fun to use. But then we have actually an insane conversion, which is Barricada, the most underrated conversion maybe ever in this game. I've never seen it before in game because it has 2475 velocity, 8.4 studs of pen, and it can one-shot to the torso to about 100 studs with 65 RPM. Now, this is unironically not a bad sniper. Now, there have been some actual sniper buffs that have made this actually not as broken as it was before, but it was unironically a really good sniper last update before they started buffing snipers again, because all the snipers kind of sucked, and this had 65 RPM and a 100 stud one-shot range with a huge amount of pen as well. Like, I'm aiming too high to actually hit that guy. 2475 velocity is unironically like not even that bad. It's very similar to the old AWS velocity, which really wasn't like the worst thing in the world. It definitely was a thing you could criticize about the old AWS. But yeah, honestly, this is super good. I'm not gonna lie. I'd say this is probably an 8 out of 10 sniper rifle. I wouldn't really rank it as a shotgun because you do have to actually torso kill people with it, which for the RPM is really not that great. Oh my gosh, I limb hit him there. Then we have Harpoon. This is a 1 out of 10, obviously. Like, it can limb kill up close, blah, blah, blah. Has a really, really slow rate of fire. This is a meme conversion. Very funny. I do like meme conversions in this game. It also does an insane amount of damage when you hit a headshot. So if you have the ragdolls on, they go really far. Pretty funny, not good at all, obviously. Then we have 4 gauge, which basically gives you 7 instead of 8 pellets and almost a 2 pellet kill, but it doesn't. And it is actually terrible. You know why it's terrible? It lowers your RPM, and it doesn't change your pellets to kill. It still takes 3 pellets to kill. So it's like, what's the point? It literally just ruins this gun. It makes it very loud and chunky and fun to use, but it literally makes the one-hit kill range worse. So never use this. Okay, that's fun. The next gun up is the DT11, which I would recommend with birdshot because it will make it a 5 pellet kill. But this is a close range only shotgun because this thing has 350 RPM. It has more RPM than the AA-12. I'm not gonna lie, this gun with the default ammo is actually not too bad for like medium range or closer range maps like this. But let's be real, we've all seen somebody with birdshot and this gun on containers, and that's where it's best. I'd say both ways to run this gun are a 10 out of 10 because it has 350 RPM, and it's basically just the BV-12, but with an extra 100 RPM. And as you can see up close, it has no problems one tapping people, and yeah, you can get like 250 kill games with it on containers. If you've seen somebody do that before, that guy just hit himself with his own name. Every single time you play containers, there will be one guy with this gun and birdshot, and he will get 100 kills every single time because it's basically a free 100 kills. Oh my, I'm not gonna lie though, this gun is really super fun. Then this has a bunch of conversions. They're all not very good, okay? I'm not even gonna go through these. This is basically a fake BFG. This is the only one you should use because I think, yeah, they changed the sound effect and it sounds cool. The rest of these are all terrible. Like this one is statistically worse in every single way to the assault rifle known as the Type 20. Seriously, every stat is worse. It's crazy. They don't really care about balancing these too much. They're kind of just memes, I guess. They did have a short barrel that increased your damage before, and that made some of them good. Then they removed that because that was honestly OP. And then it also has a full auto conversion, which, just so you guys know, this does not increase your RPM. That's just the RPM it already had. And then it just makes your spread horrifically bad. Horrifically bad, dude. Yeah, basically the full auto conversion is just if you don't want to click. Like, you can just click and it will fire that fast and have better spread. So there's really no point of running it. But next up, we have the Stevens DB. Now, the Stevens DB used to be my favorite shotgun. I have 1,826 kills with it, and not because it's very good. Honestly, it's not really a great gun. It has a fire rate of 200. And then it has a really slow reload time. However, the spread is honestly insanely good, and the damage is really high as well. And you can press V and change it to an instant burst. And if you're wondering why there's no animation for me switching this, it's because this gun has 2 triggers, and you're just hitting both the triggers. So you wouldn't really hit anything. You know, you just press both triggers at once. And yeah, it has a really good one-shot range when you're running the burst on it. It only has 1 bullet, so it's like the BFG of shotguns if you're running this. But this is the only correct way to run this anyway, is to run the burst and the birdshot or infinite pellets, because that has 32 pellets at once, which is really awesome. Yeah, overall, I'm gonna give this shotgun probably like a 4 out of 10. It's probably the worst shotgun in the game, unfortunately. Like, it has a good killing range, but it's really not supposed to be that good anyway. And there's an unironically like good double barrel in the game right now, which is funny, but this is not that one. I'll go over why in a bit, but yeah, this used to be my favorite shotgun until they added the other double barrel. But next up, we have the E-gun. Crowd control gives you 1200 RPM auto. Home defense gives you 3000 RPM, but a 5-round burst. And then if you run none of those, you can run an auto or a burst, but they will both be slower. So if you want to lock in on your crowd control or on the home defense, you select one of these. But if you want options to all of them, but a little bit slower, then you can run something else. If you run heavy discs, you get better damage, but you do get significantly lower muzzle velocity down to 600, which is terrible. Light, you get a little bit lower damage, but faster velocity. And with pennies, you get terrible damage, but you have a 50-round mag. And that one is kind of just a meme attachment. Either way, this is not really the best gun. It is more of like a close range SMG with really low recoil. The damage is not great. It does 25 up close if you're running the heavy discs, which is the best damage you can get. Otherwise, it's a 6-hit kill, but a 4-hit kill up close with 1200 RPM and a 1.5 times headshot multi is honestly not that bad. It's not really the best weapon overall, but I'd probably give it like a 6 out of 10 because at least it has like low recoil for your troubles. Really, if you're running this for close range, you're running it for very close range because 600 velocity, it's terrible. Like, it's gonna drop from that side of the room to the other side of the room. But then next up we have the AA-12. Now the AA-12 I only have 500 kills on, which sounds like a lot, but it used to be really OP and I would run it like a little bit, but I have more kills on the KSG, more on the model, more on the DBV, more on the KS-23, more on the Saiga, more on the Stevens. Oh my gosh, everything. Dude, I use shotguns a little bit too much in this game. I'm not gonna lie, people have always hated shotguns in this game. I have found them overpowered, but I like shotguns in video games because you can one-shot people and run around, so it's fun. And the AA-12 only having 500 kills on it is ridiculous for how good it used to be. This gun is honestly horrible now and you barely see it. I like, you know, double barrels and pump shotguns. I don't really like this. This is not really that fun to me. This gun is like a 4 out of 10, I'm not gonna lie. It's really not good at all. It fires slower than the Saiga, does worse damage, and has worse spread. Terrible handling if you're running the drum mag. Yeah, but you can one-shot people with it, but one shot with like any shotgun. This is just not good. It does have an 8-round default mag, which is actually arguably a little bit better than the drum, but people only run it for the drum because it's funny. Like, I could do this with any gun, but it does make it really simple and really easy. Oh my gosh, I just realized that multi that I was on. I'm trying to say that this gun sucks, but then we have the Spaz 12. I've not seen enough praise for the Spaz. The Spaz 12 has 200 RPM semi-auto and has, I believe, the exact same spread as the Remington 8.7. It's a pump shotgun and doesn't have this much RPM, you know? And it can single load, so you can just constantly shoot this because, you know, that's how single loading shotguns work. Pretty funny. All right. Also, the damage on this is 33, so it's not enough to kill with 3 pellets at once, which is why I'd say the Remington definitely has an advantage. But yeah, it's not that big of a deal compared to the literally double fire rate on this. This also has pump action, which gives you 90 RPM. It only lowers your spread, but as you can see, the spread does get pretty decent, but honestly, this is like a terrible way to run this, I'm not gonna lie. Because then it shoots slower than the Remington. It does have a little bit better spread, but it has less damage and less RPM. So really not that big of a deal to run pump action. A lot of people think of the Spaz as being pump action, but you can actually in real life run this either pump action or semi-automatic. It's cool that it comes with pump action. I love to see it have an instant burst attachment, so it's kind of like Half-Life funny shotgun, but I get the RPM right. I don't use this as much. Probably should because it's really OP, as you can see. Like, the spread is ridiculously low. Now, the DT11 does have a bunch of interesting ammo types, which is cool. It has a bunch of different barrel attachments, but the default gun has a fire rate of 350, which is the same as the Saiga. Yeah, I just hit a guy twice and it didn't kill him. That's not supposed to happen. And the per pellet damage is only 19, which is horrible, but it has 12 pellets, and as you can see, really low spread. So you can one-shot people really, really far. And it also has a significantly better reload time when compared to the Stevens DB. So this is a significantly better gun than the Stevens, not gonna lie, because you can get away with reloading it. You can use it on single fire. And yeah, the damage is worse, but overall the damage is very similar because the pellets, there are a lot of pellets per shot. And I'd probably give the default on this gun an 8 out of 10. Definitely not as good as like a semi-auto shotgun, but it's still very, very good. I forgot if I ranked the Spaz, I give that one a 10 out of 10. I think that's actually tied with the Saiga. Oh my gosh, I cannot hit a one-shot on this. The chokes are super weird because like the damage on the shotguns is just horrible now, so. But the main way that people run the DT11, at least like people that are ultra sweating or whatever, is not with the default barrel because it has 2 barrel attachments and also ammo conversions, which we'll talk about. But yeah, the normal gun, nah, that's not good enough because we need to run combat or sawed-off barrel. Now, nobody runs a combat barrel, okay? Don't even care about the combat barrel. This one basically makes your damage higher, but your velocity and spread worse, but makes your reload time faster. The sawed-off barrel is like that, but even more. And then you have 38 damage per pellet. That has 4 more pellets than a KS-23M and does more damage per pellet. Basically means it does like 60% more damage than a KS-23M, which is kind of insane. Reload time is also 1.8 seconds, which is kind of ridiculous. This gun handles really, really well. Like, you can walk around really, really fast with it, and the damage is insane as well. I'd give the combat barrel version of this a 1 out of 10 because nobody likes the combat barrel. I've never seen anybody running the combat barrel. Like, just go straight to the sawed-off, dude. And then the sawed-off, I'd probably give a 9 out of 10. I wouldn't say it's actually the best shotgun in the game. This is only for close range, and then you only have 2 shells, and then you may as well just run like a Saiga, but at the same time, the damage is really good. So it does have a little bit more of a killing range than the Saiga, even though it's supposed to be like a tiny sawed-off shotgun, but it's fine. I think this is honestly such a great shotgun. I don't know why people don't use this. It's also really fun. Gosh, hello. What? Yes, I have 2,200 kills on this gun. I love that gun. And we have a triple aught buckshot, which basically gives you terrible spread, as you can see, and halves your pellets, but does give you more pellet damage. This is like a 3 out of 10. Yes, you do 58 damage a pellet with this version, but it's just not good. Like, your damage isn't actually higher because you have half the pellets. It doesn't do double the damage. It literally just makes your gun worse. And we have 3.5 shell, which is basically like, you want normal pellets, 8 pellets. Yeah, none of these ones are good at all. I don't know why you'd ever use these. They do give you more damage, but then they just reduce your pellets. So it's like, really, is that really necessary? Probably not. I guess it could maybe work with some chokes, but yeah, this one is probably a little bit better. I still give this one like a 6 out of 10. I think you could definitely make an argument for this and like a full choke being pretty good. But then we have the bolo round. Now the bolo round is crazy because it has terrible bullet velocity, especially with the sawed-off barrel, obviously. But it has 2 pellets, as you can see, that land very close together. Now at long range, this can actually one-shot people, but up close, it cannot. Well, technically, it can one-shot torso, but then at range, it can one-shot to the limbs, which is really goofy. And that's if you're running the sawed-off barrel. If you're running the default barrel, it does even worse damage, and it's kind of good with the sawed-off barrel, not gonna lie. It's kind of like if you want insane drop, but you can one-shot people. But then we have the USAS 12, which I only have 138 kills on. Honestly, this gun is really fun, but I just don't ever use it because I'm kind of opposed to using this thing. The USAS has 10 bullets and 450 RPM. I am running a muzzle booster because I'm running a funny recoil loadout. It's not really a great loadout, but this gun used to do 19 damage per pellet, which is obviously awful. That basically means you have to hit nearly every pellet to kill somebody, but then they increase the pellet damage up to 20. So it can actually kill with 5 out of 8 pellets, which isn't even that bad. I don't know why they had to do that, but now this gun is somewhat usable, not gonna lie. The spread is not great, but it's honestly not too bad either. The rate of fire is really, really high. 450 is kind of insane fire rate, and then it's a shotgun. Honestly, this is kind of decent. I'd probably give it a 7 out of 10. I don't think it's really that great, but unlike the A12, this has like a faster reload, and honestly, like you can use it kind of like an assault rifle almost. Slight range where you can spam people down a little bit more. But I do think the pellet damage is not too bad, and then the spread is really not too bad either, and then it just shoots insanely fast. And then the reload time is not too bad either. So it's like actually not terrible. Really goofy. I don't know why this is out to be any good. Surprised we haven't seen any protests over this actually being like a semi-viable shotgun. But whatever, I guess it's like a higher rank, so people forgot that it's in the game or something. I don't see it that often, which is pretty crazy considering what this gun can do. Maybe we'll see a nerf in the future after I make this video and people start using this gun, because honestly, like, it's not even that bad. Anyways, gamers, if you guys did enjoy though, make sure to smash a like and subscribe if you're new, but I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. Have a nice day.